Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we're going to do a little repair work from the storm here at the house, and we're just going to plant up a fun new container and add a couple of perennials into the Gatsby Gal flower bed behind me. It's a little bit of a hodgy-podgy day here as we count down to the wedding that is just less than 2 weeks away, and so we're kind of getting into those fine details and fixing things that need to be fixed from the storm last week. That is what we're going to do today. So let me give you an overview of what we're going to do, and then we shall get started. Of course, I am standing here right at the entrance going in the path to the backyard and the patio. Everything is really looking great. We really did survive really well with the storm back here. But there were a couple of things that kind of surprised me as far as damage. So the main thing that really surprised me was right here with my sweet little Munchkin. So Munchkin is one of the most petite oak leaf hydrangeas. I've had her here for a couple of years. Has done great. You can see that she was just absolutely covered in flower buds. She was getting ready to bloom, and I noticed her the other day. She was starting to get a little limp, and she's really limp right now. But if you will notice when I came over here that it just, the wind just caught it and just pulled up and, you know, so it damaged it beyond repair back there. So the roots are just completely pulled out of the ground. I suspect that the wind just kind of came around the corner here, just whipped around, and for whatever reason just pulled those roots loose. And so unfortunately she's gone. I hate it because I absolutely love this sweet little hydrangea. But you know, for a gardener, when one plant succumbs to nature, that just means we get to plant something else. So what I'm going to plant here today is Wee Bit Innocent. Wee Bit Innocent is a big leaf hydrangea, a macrophylla. You can see that she has already, oh look, I mean, could you have timed that better? Thank you, little honeybee. She is starting to put on some flower buds. This is going to be a pH dependent plant, meaning that depending on your soil's pH level will determine her color. Now, right now, she is pink, but she is not. Brenna clearly sees something. Brenna, it's okay. It's all right. I don't know if she smells a rabbit. We're going to try to take care of those too. Hey, out. Is she after? Did you find anything? Okay, no. There it goes. Yep. Brenna, it's that way. Come on, Brenna, this way. So I'm not sure what the camera caught of all of that, but as I was doing something, Brenna just kind of freaked out and came running over there. You know that we are dealing with bunnies, and we know we have two because we saw them come over here yet again and try to munch on my evolvulus. You can see that the evolvulus is completely gone. So the bunnies have come and taken out all the evolvulus right here. They've taken out all the evolvulus right here. And so we saw them. We know we have two. They're the cutest little things ever. But they don't belong in my garden, especially when they're eating my plants. Hey, bee, out. Come on. Come on. Hey, now she's making a mess. Just a minute, please. So when I was doing the hydrangea, she smelled it and came running over and actually kind of did go ahead and flush it out. So I don't know if the camera caught the little bunny running out or not. So now she's on high alert, and I'm trying to keep her out of the flower bed so she won't destroy it. Let's get back to Wee Bit Innocent. It's a circus here, y'all. It's just I live in a zoo. So here we go. Wee Bit Innocent is going to be nice and short. 2 feet tall and 2.5 feet wide. Because she is a court, it's going to take her a little bit of time to get there. This shrub hydrangea, for me, since it is a MAC, it is going to be going perfect in a morning sun, afternoon shade type of situation. So we're gonna pull out Munchkin and we're gonna put Wee Bit Innocent there. Now, looking around at the other perennials, we'll see how she does long term. And if she is happy and growing, then we can always move some other perennials, right? To have a nice, beautiful Macrophylla hydrangea right here that blooms, I will be quite happy with that. I'm gonna have to corral the dog because she is dead set on trying to find that rabbit or the rabbit's friend. So what we're gonna do next is talk about this planter after I get the 85-pound German Shepherd out of my flower bed. Another damage to the garden from, and this is just from the wind, was my cardoon. Now, I'm not as sick about the cardoon as I was the hydrangea, just because I was going to treat this as an annual. It was beautiful, so that I was going to treat it as a perennial. You can clearly see that because it was massive, if you remember from other videos that we have done recently. But it went ahead and it snapped it, it bent it, it's all crooked, it is just all to pieces. So what we're gonna do is actually empty this container completely. I have that cardoon in there, and then I have 2 purple eucheras and some violas. I'm surprised the violas have lasted this long, but I'm gonna clean everything out and then we're gonna replant it. We're gonna reuse those same 2 purple eucheras in there because we're gonna kind of go with a little fun little theme. And we're gonna add into the container caladiums and then some of the Rocapuco impatiens. We're gonna stick with that purple theme. This caladium is really fun because this is Va Violet, and it is, I believe, the only like purple hued caladium on the market. So this is really fun. It is a shade caladium. It is a strap leaf caladium. It is going to be for the shade. The morning sun will be fine, but it definitely gets a break in the afternoon. And then we're going to continue with the purple and do the Rocapuco purple impatiens. I've got 2 of them, so we're going to figure that out. I really want this container to be more mounded than, I don't want any trailing because one, I have this beautiful unique stone container. This is the hummingbird trough. I want to be able to show that off, and I don't want it to be incredibly too tall like the cardoon is because I want to see all of the perennials that are back there. So we're going to take care of that, get that all replanted. I will show you how we're going to do that. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to add some more perennials. We're going to do 3 of the same kind here on the back side of the Gatsby Gal hydrangea. So you can kind of get an idea of this whole space. We have here, this is what I call the Gatsby Gal bed because of the Gatsby Gal oak leaf hydrangea. She too is doing great. Gatsby Gal is going to be probably one of your most sun tolerant hydrangeas. Looks like she might need a little bit of some extra fertilizer because when you're starting to look at the leaves, see how you're starting to see a lot of that veining is very light. So that tells me that I need to come back in here and give her some more fertilizer. We had so much rain that the nutrients have gotten leached out of the soil. So I need her to be nice and dark green, more like these limelight prime hydrangeas. That is what all these hydrangeas right here, I have 5 of them going down. Those are limelights, primes. Now, what we're gonna do is, you may notice that I have, for some reason, an empty spot right here. So we need to take care of that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add 3 of the meant to be Royal Raspberry Agastaki. This is a full sun perennial that is gonna be really fun because it has a really kind of a, I don't know, blue, green, silver hued foliage to it. And it will just pair so nicely and be a lovely contrast against the Gatsby Gal Limelight Prime. And then of course, Boom Chocolata is right here off to the side. It'll give me some height in here, so that will continue the Boom Chocolata height and fill in. It won't be too short and just be really nice right here. Now, the Royal Raspberry is going to be, we gotta look at our tags because I know y'all like all your good information. This is going to be about 28 to 32 inches tall, about 2 feet wide, and it has those rosy purple flowers with the burgundy calyxes. The calyxes are what hold the flower on, and so basically after they drop, like right here, once they drop, you still have some color. This is a little early as far as the bloom time, so I'll probably gonna come in here. You can see this one got a little long. Walter's Gardens sent us a huge collection of perennials. That's gonna be a whole nother video, but they were on this pallet. The whole collection is over here, and so they got shipped all the way down up from Michigan down to us. So I'll probably go ahead and prune those back just a little bit to encourage some good strong root growth. So what we're gonna do first is get Munchkin out and Lovable in, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll do the container together, and hopefully we won't find another rabbit, or if we do, Brenna can chase it off into the woods. So let's get going. Two of the three projects are now complete, so let's review. I even threw in an extra project there for good measure. Let's talk about the one that I threw in there for good measure, because for me it's probably the most noticeable. Every year, this time of year, every mid-spring, I have to come in and I have to go ahead and clean up some of the low-hanging branches of this forest pansy, because that is its nature. That's what it wants to do. Kind of have that, I wouldn't say a weeping habit, but definitely a definitely downturned habit. And if I don't do that, then plants are not going to get enough sun in here. And I can already tell that, one, from the cardoon, and then two, from that more of those shadows, because my fern here, this is the crested surf, it's leaning a little bit. Then I have the Astilbe back here, that nice dark side of the moon, Astilbe, and it's a little crooked, not as strong and tight as it should be. And so all I do is come in here and just clean it up. Now there are some dead branches in here. Jenny's just too short to get those, but just coming in and getting those low hanging branches. And so what I'll do is I'll come in here and just see like what is hanging over super low, and then just cut from underneath. Like I said, there are some bigger branches that have died that I need to get rid of, but that's a job more for Jerry or Andrew with their lovely long legs, not for old Shorty over here. But it just provides a lot of light coming in. Now the plants can grow, be happy, and my trimming for the year should be done. Talking about plants and how they should be happy, Wee Bit Innocent right here. She just looks so cute right there. If you get plants, like if you have ordered shrubs from us at Creekside, you're going to get them in a quart-sized container, which is what Wee Bit Innocent is. Basically what we do is we tell you that you have two options as far as like how do you take care of that that quart-sized shrub that just arrived to your house. One, you can do what I just did. You can go ahead and plant it directly into the ground. That will, for me personally, that would depend, that's a personal choice for you, but I know that this hydrangea is going into a flower bed that gets protected from the hot afternoon sun, which is important for me here in the South. This bed is on irrigation, and that this bed has been nicely amended. So I know that this plant will adjust quite nicely and will grow and bloom and thrive and be very happy. Now remember, it takes about 3 years for a shrub to really get settled and get happy. So when we're starting with a smaller plant like a court, it's going to take some time. Gardening teaches us patience, so we must be patient. So you can go ahead and plant directly in the ground like I did, or if you're more comfortable, you can go ahead and take that quart-sized shrub and put it into a container, right? So as long as you're going up in size on the container, then it will be perfectly fine. And then when you feel more comfortable, maybe the plant's gotten bigger, maybe you're going into a more of appropriate planting time for your season, for your region, then you can go ahead and put it in the ground. So those are kind of the two options that we tell folks, is that go ahead and plant it in the ground, or if you want to wait, put it in a pot, put it where you think it's going to go in your landscape, or take care of it. Whatever you need to do when the time's appropriate, then put it into the landscape. And then the container, we got this is the rectangular hummingbird trough planter done, and it looks sweet. Now again, you have to envision, right? As a gardeners, we envision what it's going to look like when it is nice and mature. I did put 3 of the Vava Violet in there, and so basically I put them all along the back. So dead center and then off to each side. So caladiums love the heat. They love the humidity. They are literally going to grow before your eyes. The ones that I put on the front porch just last week have already grown significantly. These are going to take off. And then so will the Rocapuco purple. This is the same Rocapuco double impatient that I used in the shade garden on the other side of the house. So that kind of ties it all in together. And then this is the wildberry. So it will fill in quite nicely. It was getting smothered by the cardoon. So now that it's getting some nice sunlight and has some room to breathe, and it has room for its roots to grow, it will be quite happy. And in no time at all, we're going to see a big change in that plant. To show you what a mature plant looks like of that wildberry in the ground, here is one. So pretty up against the fern, and just, you know, there's hostas right there. I've got balloon flowers. There's another, this is the Let's Dance Blue Jangles that is right here off to the side right there, but everything is looking quite nicely. Even here in the Gatsby Gal bed, we are having loads of color. We have got the Penstemon is blooming. This is the Beyond Midnight, so it is going nice and strong. The Spiderwort. This is the Spiderweb. Yes, so I have got little honeybees. They are so happy to see flowers, and oh my gosh, that one has its little pollen sacs are just full. Very happy going from plant to plant. And then down here I have my Serendipity Allium. They are putting on some lovely buds. Look at that. We're gonna have gorgeous flowers here before we know it. And then my Cat's Pajamas is also blooming there as well. So what we're gonna do is we are going to head over just on the other side of Gatsby Gal here, and we're gonna get those Agasaki in the ground. All right, my friends, we're gonna keep it really simple. Those 3 meant to be royal raspberries are gonna go right here. The one in the middle, I'm just gonna scoot forward just a little bit because it's closer to the Gatsby Gal, so make sure the Gatsby Gal has enough room. There is irrigation lines in here, so I'll just need to be careful and kind of dig a little bit before I really go crazy with my my power planter auger. And yeah, I mean, it's 3 holes. These are going to be premium gallons, so even though this is a 5-inch auger bit, I can wiggle it and make plenty of room. Those plants will slip down right in there. Then we'll come back, and before we plant them, they'll get some biotone, and then if I need to, because I'm sure that I'll disrupt some of that lovely red clay soil that is my native soil, I've got some of the land and seed that I can just come through and top dress to hide any of that red clay soil. But yeah, it's pretty easy on that. I got to keep an eye on the dog because she's still hunting some rabbits. And while I want her to scare them, I also do not want her to destroy my garden. So there is a fine balance that I am that I am giving her. But she She definitely has the scent of the rabbits now. And again, I don't want her to like catch them or, you know, I just want her to scare the bejeebies out of them so that they move on somewhere else. There's plenty of land. You don't need to come here, sweet things. All right, I've talked enough. Let's get the plants in the ground. The 3 royal raspberries are in the ground, and now we just have to sit back and watch them grow. I did go ahead and cut all the blooms off of them because 1, it's not the time for them to be blooming. 2, I need them to get really well established, and so I want their energy to go into their root system and not into supporting flowers, because that will happen later. Even if they don't bloom this year, which I'm pretty certain that they will later on in this season, I want them to have a nice, strong growth habit and get really, really, really happy. The placement was dictated a little bit because of the irrigation line. So the irrigation line perfectly ran behind all of them. With your Agastache, you want them, they like to have water, right? They're not plants that love it super, super dry. However, they do need well-draining soil. So that is close to them, so they'll get the moisture, but they're not going to be sitting in it. And there is a little bit of, this is on a slope, so that water will drain away. I think it's going to be so pretty though when you look at this bed as a whole, to think of your different bloom periods, right? So right now, of course, the Boom Chocolata is just loving life. I've got little pollinators all over it. It's got some nice height, so they are just absolutely beautiful and doing just really, really well. Could not be happier with them. Imagine that the royal raspberry down there will do really well, and then of course that penstemon also is doing great. The penstemon is going to be kind of a, as most perennials, right, that 1 bloom and then done. So they'll bloom for, you know, 4 to 6 weeks perhaps, and so that will be quite nice, and hopefully we won't get any massive storms, and so they will still be blooming next week when the wedding takes place. One last thing that I am going to do, and this is reinforced by us finding that little bunny in here when we first got started. When I was in the garden last week with my mama, she, you know, deals with moles and voles. And she was reading in one, and I don't remember where it was now, but one of these really famous gardens that deals with moles and voles is with the problem too. They were using this Mole Max. So it is a mole and vole repellent. This particular one is from Bonide. I ordered it from Amazon. We don't have it online right now. We don't sell it at the garden center. I just simply went to Amazon and bought it. It also repels armadillos, rabbits, ground squirrels, and ground hogs, which is amazing. The number 1 main ingredient is the castor oil. So castor oil, it has 10% and then just, you know, regular filler stuff, right? So it does have a little bit of a scent to it, and it will repel these critters that are digging in our gardens. Great thing about it is too, it lasts for 2 to 3 months. So praise the Lord, it's not something that you have to reapply like every week or after it rains. So in fact, you want to lay it down right before it rains. It does better, so it gets watered in. Read all the directions on the, you know, on the bag, follow those instructions. So what I'm going to do is just broadcast that out into the forest pansy bed, since I know that that's where they're hanging out, and I'll probably go ahead and go over to where they've been eating on the evolvulus. Even though the evolvulus is completely gone, that's all right. I am going to go ahead and plant. Let me show you while we're over here. I'm going to plant, not today, but this week. I have got begonias and I have got the angelona. These are going to go in those beds. The begonias, this is double up white, is going to take the place of the evolvulus. And so basically it's going to come and follow the whole path right here and then down the sidewalk, and then also where they've been eating that evolvulus right there. So I'm going to line these paths on this side, the sunny side, with the double up white begonia, and then behind that we're going to come in with the angel face perfectly pink. So this will be a really nice color to it. I already have this in the garden where the gardenias are, so that will tie it all in. Those will go in where the anemones and the ranunculuses are. The anemones are doing okay. Definitely figured out that I am where I am because you can plant them in the fall or the spring. Definitely figured out I am a fall planter girl. So because the ones that I did plant in the fall in the front were gorgeous and amazing and just bloomed their little heads off. These guys have been on the struggle bus since the day I put them in. It doesn't help that you have said dog that likes to walk through them. Once I put plants in here that she sees, typically she stays out of the gardens. I get a lot of questions about that. If she sees it's open space, then she thinks it's free reign. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna leave the anemones in here. I'm just gonna cut them down. If they have pretty flowers, then I'll go ahead and cut them. But when I add in all the other things, I'll just trim them up. And then from that rain that we got, that storm, I need to come in here and work on my roses a little bit as well. So that is today's project. It is complete. I can check it off the list. Ta-da. Get out there and do something in your garden, y'all. Even if you feel quite overwhelmed, as I do sometimes, just every little bit helps, right? It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you tackle a garden after a natural disaster? One project at a time. So that's what we're doing. As always, y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.